it's not a right or wrong way of doing it, but it is certainly a perspective of what should we do and how we should do it.
I am trying to learn on the run, so I promise you, if I get up and run out, it's because I'm at work, and you know how work is. Work goes on, but I'm gonna try to learn on the run.
Totally.
I do have a question. So I have, I guess, the opportunity to be able to have a father that builds homes. So I've been around this. I've been in landscape, development, construction, inspection, everything else. So I've seen a lot of aspects of building everything else. In '08, we had contractors, GCs that were building 50 houses at a time, and they had to try to unload all 50 at one time. Some were living in the houses. So I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. One thing right now that I'm thinking about is my father has always gone with the principle. He was afraid of credit, but in this day and age, everybody does things with credit and leverage. So trying to get him out of the old school mentality, of hey, $1,500 here, hey, let's go ahead and put in the plumbing, do everything. It just takes a long time. It's effective, but it takes a long time. So what I'm thinking about doing is going into my 401k. Yeah, it's risky, but I mean, all of it is risky. Investing is risky, everything else. So with that being said, he has a strategy in which I think is good. I would definitely want your feedback on this. Building a house to sell, and then sell that home and build 1 to 2 rental properties. Now, of course, he's a GC, he's licensed, everything else. I've done work with him, in the past. So like I said, I've been around it. So we are going to pick and choose what we want to do versus, like the HVAC or letting somebody, sub out the foundation, us doing the framing, things of that nature. So we can pick and choose, where we want to save money, when, where, and how. What do you think about that strategy? I know everyone can't do this, but I'm ready to jump off into it. I've been a little too safe for a long time.
Yeah, it's a lot to unpack there, man. First of all, I commend you for being around and in the business, even to some degree, for all these years, but then also still seeking new information and saying maybe there's a different approach, right? I think it's a lot of wisdom in that. Secondly, the fact that you, unlike most, are willing to be an independent thinker and saying, okay, I've been working, building up this 401k, but why do I sit around and whether I'm successful or not, as in terms of the 401k performance, is all relegated to this custodian who sent me this, sheet telling me whether or not we did good or not, right? And all I'm doing is just putting money into it, hoping that one day it's enough that this said retirement is coming and I got enough there, right? So,
Exactly.
one thing that I did religiously when I worked in corporate America, I kept 2 loans out against my 401k because I was clear on the fact that whatever they were doing wasn't going to get me to the desired lifestyle that I wanted at the time of retirement. So,
Amen.
yes, you pay a penalty, but the part they don't tell you is that you're paying yourself back with interest. It's you're paying the penalty back to, right? But they don't tell you that because they just want you to go to sleep and just keep sending your money, and then they invest it in the things that's most advantageous to get them the highest yield on their percentage for their commission. But they playing with your money. I'm gonna get into that today too. I digress, but that subject always get me excited. The other part is, I think that number one, yes, that's a good move. If you can accelerate the growth of your 401k, I would even venture that depending on how much of it you pull out, that if you're gonna pay the penalty, that you just put it into a self-directed IRA. Okay, that's a tool that myself and a lot of our students use inside the program. Okay.
Yeah, it actually already is. Because I left my previous job, and that money was just sitting there. So I went ahead and put into a self-directed IRA, and beautiful. I will have to pat myself on the back, looking at other people, but I've actually grown my portfolio way better than my previous job has. So, and that's one of the reasons why it's already been taxed. So, this money right here is, no penalty on it. It's already, it's free to use.
For sure. And now you'll be deploying that capital in and out of transactions, and all of it is tax deferred because it's sitting in a self-direct IRA. So absolutely, I pat you on the back for that one as well. So with all that being said, I think the biggest piece of everything that I heard you say, I like the strategy, flip one house, buy two rentals, right? You know, the biggest thing that you got to look at is the yield on your time. Okay. And when I say your time, you got to be conscious of you and your father's time in this regard. And I'm going to get into this today because it's the most singular thing that separates why billionaires make billions and why other people make $100,000 a year. It's about what type of yield are you getting on your time, and all because your father possesses the ability to do the work inside the property. Is that the highest and best yield? Because while we think that, you know, it may on a 2,500 square foot home that it's going to cost us $6,000-7,000 to go in and paint. And we like, but if I do it at cost, it probably cost me $4,500. Well, that $2,500 net that you just picked up, right? But did you really pick up a net? Because if it took you 2 weeks to get in there and do that painting, in 2 weeks, you could have found 3 more properties that could have made you another $40,000 per. So it's not a right or wrong way of doing it, but it is certainly a perspective of what should we do and how we should do it. And I can't necessarily answer that for you, Charmel. Is it Charmel? Is that how you pronounce it? Okay. I can answer that, but I can't answer that. You know what I mean? It's one of those things
I got you.
we really would have to sit down and dissect every aspect of it. As a general consensus, I would say that you need to look at the parts that you would do in-house, truly look at how much more does that impact the bottom line if y'all were to do them in-house versus, you know, your father treating that business as its own, and then y'all utilize other resources to do the other part because it could speed up the process for you, especially if some of his processes are a little archaic just based on how he liked to do stuff.
He's you know, he's coming around. A lot of prayer. I mean, a lot of prayer. He's coming around. You know, when you've been doing this for, you know, about 30 years, you know, you don't want to do it, you know, and then, you know, even though he's your son, you let a young buck come in, you know, and tell you, hey, there's different ways to do things. You know, you had to go some rounds, you know, in the ring about, you know, hey, look, you know, things have changed.
For sure. I totally get it. And yeah, the good news is, right, you got that lever that you can pull. I think as this week unfolds, I think you're gonna have total clarity how you want to move forward. Quite honestly, I do.
Yeah, appreciate it. I'm definitely looking forward.
You're in a great launching position for sure, based on all the moves that I just heard you with the self-directed IRA and all that. Like you're in a really good spot. So it couldn't be a better time for you to be here.